Welcome to the What If Project right here on YouTube. I'm Derek. That's Zach. That's Jake over there.
Oh, well, for me, you guys are over here.
Yeah, you're right there.
Zach,
Bang,
Zach.
right there. Big fist bump.
Other way. I know you can't see it, but you got it. It's over. It's whatever.
No, I'm right on the thing.
But not to me, though.
Boom, right there.
Okay. Well,
It
magic's a little tainted, but it'll work.
The magic is a little tainted. Hey, for those of you who've never seen the What If Project podcast, what are you waiting for?
What are you doing?
What have you been doing?
Get in on the conversation. It's
That's
fun.
exactly
There's
right.
no stakes. Stakes are
You're-
so low. It's great. In a world with high stakes, the stakes are low here, man.
We're a
It's still
podcast.
important.
We're a podcast of inspiration, motivation, and change. If you want to know more about us, you can go to believeinthewhatif.webnode.com. You'll find it right down there. You can also subscribe to our channel, be one of the very, very few, the elite. The elite. We're shooting for 20 by the end of the month. That's
the
what I'm
elite.
shooting for.
The elite.
That's
Oh,
right.
I like that. We just reframe it as in.
We have 13 subscribers.
Oh, subscribers. I thought you
Just
were talking
subscribers.
about like people who'd like donated. I'm like,
No,
holy cow.
you're talking about Patreon.
Okay.
No, you
But
can also
speaking of
join our Patreon. And that'll be down in the description too. So go down there, hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell so you'll know when the What If podcast is coming on. We are all
That's
about
good branding,
inspiration,
man.
and it comes in many different forms, and we try and find each and every form. So
I like that branding, Dad. You be a part of the elite. The
That's
few.
right.
It's an exclusive club. Are
it's
you subscribed to the What If podcast? You're not. I didn't think so.
very exclusive.
Only 13 people are in there right now.
Yeah.
There are almost more people on an offensive squad of a football team, almost, than there are subscribers to
You got
the.
enough for 2 backups, baby.
So here's what we want you to do. Even though you'd be number 14, come on. You know what should be the big thing? Be the 12th man
Yeah.
or woman or whatever.
Yeah.
Be the 12th. Be the 14th.
Yeah. Be the 14th.
Who's got the guts to be the 14th?
Yeah. Who's
That's it.
That's
That'll
how
be
you,
our
who's
brand.
are you a man or woman enough to be
Are
the
you a man or
14th
woman enough?
subscriber?
That's right. To be the 14th.
I bet you're not.
Subscriber.
Let's just go total reverse psychology on everybody.
That's it. That's it. Also, you can join our Patreon. And who's willing to be the first one to do that?
It's good. It's good
Fantastic.
stuff. Helps you do a lot of stuff, Dad.
That's right. Helps us do a lot of stuff. We got some things coming up. What do we got coming? You get free exclusive stuff for all that we're doing at the What If Project. Again, go to believeinthewhatif.webnode.com. The address is right there. Check it out, see what you think. If you want to email us, you can do that at believeinthewhatif@gmail.com. Jake, where you been inspired this week?
Oh man. I think it's impossible to see this and not be inspired in some way, inspired to, at least care more deeply about, what's going on and the effects of war on the world. But that video of that little girl who was singing, it was either Ukrainian or in Russian, "Let It Go,"
Yep,
in a bomb shelter.
saw that.
I don't know. That's a very, that's not a deep kind of revelation, but obviously it is very inspiring because
It is. We're going to talk a little bit about that.
because it inspires you to care, give a dang about what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
So
Zach, you been inspired at all this week?
I guess a small inspiration. Just speaking with some coworkers about how their kids are older, and just them sharing a bunch of stories of their kids, and like, I'm doing okay.
Ah, I see.
Not that they were doing bad, but
okay, you're like, oh, I'm on the right track.
I thought you were just like, this
Their
week
kids sucked.
Of evils.
it's like, no, I mean, like a lot of their experiences are kind of lined up with what I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
And, all right,
You're doing okay.
I'm doing okay.
You're doing okay.
I'm hanging in there.
So I was inspired this week to once again enter into the arena of my book writing. And so I hammered out.
Can you inspire me for that too?
I hammered out 5,000 words over the last 2 days. I know that doesn't sound like a lot.
No, that is a lot, man.
But it is for me. And so kind of changed the format of it a little bit, been inspired to do that. So I've been excited to do that. The words seem to be coming a little bit easier.
Nice.
So
flowing like water, man. Can you inspire me to do that too? Because I need to also.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Before I die.
I'll tell you what, I think what it really is, and for those who want to check it out, you can go to our website at believeinthewhatif.webnode.com. I have a blog there called The Janitor's Closet, and I think that's probably one of the things that have been is just getting into the habit of writing that janitor's closet.
Mm-hmm.
I took a few turns away from the janitor's closet to fill it in with writing the book. And
right. I think that's fantastic. Because me and you are both writers, Dad, even though I don't write nearly as much. I don't know why I call myself that. I like to write, but you
are a writer. You're a writer,
yeah.
Definitely a writer.
But I need to write more. And that was something that I just always remember Lin-Manuel Miranda said one time. He was just like, you just like it. The act of writing is just in and of itself frustrating. Like you just need to keep writing. It's like turning on a bad faucet. It's like it starts off with kind of brown, gross water, but if it right. just keeps running, eventually it comes clear.
Yes.
And
and I would say that the first 1,000 words that I wrote were brown.
Yeah, I think everybody goes through a thing of like, I'm a fraud, or at least I do.
Exactly. You get to the point where you think, what? I don't even know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I know what I'm saying.
That's just part of the dirty water, So
yeah, I think I started off the very first chapter with the words. The idea to write this book was easy. Actually, writing it was not.
Yeah.
The number of reasons that I put in front of me, and I can't remember how I worded it. I think it was something like the amount of ammunition I used to be able to fill a white page of paper could fill an entire book. And then my next sentence was, and I would probably have just as much trouble trying to write that book as I have writing. So so there was an acknowledgement at the very beginning. So if that's something that you are interested in, you can go down to our Patreon. You can be part of our What If project here, and all that we're trying to do and bring inspiration to schools, to churches, to teachers, to anybody who will listen. And one of the things that you get if you become a Patreon member is you get early release to all the chapters that I write in my book. So you basically get the book free. So, and you get to read it as I watch it, or read it as I write it, and you get to add in your thoughts, and maybe some of your thoughts and ideas will show up in my book. And so it's entitled Lessons Learned, and that's what it is. And so what I do is, it's not really autobiographical, but yet it is. It's about, I take 5 different stories from my life, all different types of stories. And then after each story, I write the lessons that I learned from those stories. What did I learn about God? What did God learn about me? all of those, not that you learned anything, but you know what I'm saying. What did I learn about God, and kind of that journey that I have? I think it's turning out okay. It's turning out okay. We'll see. Anyway, that was my inspiration for the week. There's a couple things I want to talk to you guys about. One, we're going to talk a little bit about the Ukraine and the inspiration I think some of people are getting from, is it Zelensky?
Yeah.
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 Calling him the modern day Winston Churchill.
President Zelensky.
President Zelensky. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But first, I want to continue a little bit with a theme that we've kind of had over the past 2 or 3 podcasts, whereas I've taken a look, Jake, you've taken a look, and we've listened to or talked about some TED Talks.
Yes.
I'm in the process. I finished a book entitled Talk Like TED. I'm in the process of trying to make my presentations better, trying to be able to inspire a little bit more and motivate people to change. And so I have been listening constantly to people giving speeches. I don't know how many speeches I've listened to. I don't know how many presentations I've listened to. But I want to talk to you guys about the one that I did. I'm not sure it was inspirational, but it's reflective.
Right.
Okay. And it was entitled The Greatest TED Talk Ever Sold. And when you come across that on your screen, that title, The Greatest TED Talk Ever Sold, you got to click on it. You just have to.
Of course.
And so what it was the story of a gentleman, I wish I could remember his name, but I've listened to so many, I'd probably get it wrong. It was the story of branding. So in other words, what's your brand? How companies brand themselves.
Right.
He had an idea for a movie.
I was thinking cattle. I was like off.
No, not branding.
Your country boy.
Not branding. Your own personal brand.
Branding that
How
beef.
you brand yourself. The What If Project that's our brand. What does it say? But he started off talking about going to movie executives with this idea. I have an idea for a movie, he said. And the name of the movie is The Greatest Movie Ever Sold. And the entire movie was about how companies use their brand, and the entire thing was financed by companies who included their brands in the movie.
Yeah. So
everything was a brand. You opened up the medicine cabinet, there's deodorant, and you talk about that deodorant and your brand. So the entire thing, none of them wanted to have anything to do with it until they found some smaller ones. But the whole point of the presentation was basically this question: how do you brand yourself when you come, because we all do, how would you describe your brand?
I think the very first thing I think of is it wasn't last episode, it might have been the episode before, but when we were talking about the people that we are, right? You know, not what I do, what I am. I think that is kind of a brand.
That's absolutely a brand.
Your brand of person, your brand of self. I suppose that's what I think of when I think of people's brands, you know. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know, like the phrase like you're a Goldsberry, you need to act like it. And like it's like
the
last name of a brand of like,
or you're a Goldsberry, stop acting like it. You know, that.
You know, when, you know, people try to, you know, want their family to look and present a certain way to, I guess that's kind of what I was initially thinking of as, like, you know, what am I trying to sell to the world of who I am?
Because that's what it really boils down to, isn't it? And that's what he was talking about, was that whole idea of whether we believe it or not, whether we recognize it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not, we are constantly and continuously selling ourselves to the world.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what we do at work. You're selling your
that's right.
skills and to someone who's willing to pay for them.
So, exactly. And whether you want to use that word, whether you like that word or not, it is debatable and open to another conversation. But we are constantly presenting ourselves to the world, and I would almost dare say that our brand changes according to the company that we're in.
Yeah.
The brand that we present to our family is different than the brand that we present to our colleagues or to our bosses or any of those things. And the question was, should it be that we have a number of different brands? He talked about this whole idea of the target demo. We always talk about
Right.
that in branding, right? We even think about that in this. What's the target demo for the What If podcast? What people are we?
0 to 99 years old.
Whatever it is, it's
all
13
demographics.
people. And they like, yeah. And
Maybe.
but even with the Academy Awards that are coming up, I don't know if you've seen what they did with the Academy Awards this year. Of course, the Academy Awards show the ratings have just gone.
Yeah, no one
wants to
watches
watch
the
it.
Oscars anymore.
So
'Cause I
what?
boycotted them.
Yeah,
I used to watch them every time.
it was
You lost Zachary Goldsberry. You're
That's-
never gonna work in this town
I've watched
again.
it was a special night. But what they decided was they were too long, and so they took 8 of the categories and moved them to before the show starts, because they give out a bunch of awards before the show even starts. And these are things like
Stuff that no one cares about.
set design, sound design. I mean, it's the thing that makes
Really
the movie.
important crap, but they always get shorted, and now they're not even in the show.
And so anything that you watch, it's always this was your rating, and this was your hit on the target demo. Everybody's looking for 18 to 49. That's what they're trying to sell. That means that's what consumers are.
Because in the consumer world, those are the only people that matter,
Exactly.
right?
We're going to call them essential,
Yeah.
because that's what brings
Wrong.
in advertisers with products that they want to sell to 18 to 49. Very rarely do you see the AARP commercial or all of those things. That's
Watch
not,
enough daytime television, you will.
yeah, if you do watch daytime television, because that's who watches it, because 18 to 49, they don't watch TV during the day. They watch it at night. And so that was his whole thing was, we subconsciously try and reach a target demo. We subconsciously are branding ourselves all the time without knowing or being able to describe to anybody what our brand is. If we talk about it on the What If podcast, we're a podcast of inspiration, of motivation, and of change. Our job is to try and talk about things that inspire people or encourage them to be motivated to change. That's what we do on the What If podcast. But if you look at it at a personal level and say, how would I brand myself? What is it that I want other people to see? I got stuck.
It's
Because it's
hard to think
sorry, Zach, go.
as
We
typically for, I guess, normal people. Like, I'm sure, the higher echelons worry about it a lot more. But when you interact with people, you don't really think about, what am I presenting to this person?
right,
That's if you're like a politician or something, that's all you ever think about.
right. That's all you think about is your brand.
But for the normies out there, or us smuggles,
Mhm.
I think that's not something that we really focus on. Because even when you asked that question, I was like, well, I don't know.
I'm just me.
I'm just me.
Yeah, I'm just me. And so we don't really think about what it is that we're presenting. And so I guess my question to both of you is, should we?
I think there's an interesting balance for sure. Because in one hand, you have an idea that says, I only think about what I'm projecting into the world to get something back, right? And obviously
Right.
that's, we're not encouraging that. That leads to, all
Validation.
kinds of, yeah, I'm trying to get my validation. So it almost is like a manipulation kind of thing. I am like this for you because I want something from you.
Because you're part of my target demo.
Because you're part of my target demo, whatever that
But
is.
before you go into that, I'm sorry for interrupting. I guess my question is this, and what happens then? And how do we integrate it in our life when we want to say, or our desire is to say, I want you to see
Right.
my Christian brand.
Right. Or I want you to see me, the person that I truly believe I am.
Right.
And I truly wish you to see, and I truly want to share with you. Right. As best as I can in my own human self, knowing it's flawed, I want to share myself with you. And when you say myself, what are you thinking about? 'Cause
Right.
it's very nuanced and very complicated, but what part of yourself are you wishing to share?
Right.
Are
Because
you wishing-
when I saw this and it was asked this question, and it's probably a very negative thing, when he said, what is it that you are showing to people? What's your brand?
Right.
My first thought was, I don't really pay attention to what I'm letting them see, what I want them to see.
Right.
I'm paying more attention to what I don't want them to see.
Yes, that's
Is
very
that
very
different?
true. Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Dad. Like, especially, yeah, like I just think about how tons of people think about that. I feel the exact same way. Yeah, I'm trying to minimize the bad parts of me
Exactly.
instead of maximizing the
Yeah.
awesome parts of me that you get to see.
And in hopes that if I can hide the bad things, that there'll be a few good things that by
come
default
through.
shine through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's very common, Dad. You're
think
you're
it
not
is.
alone in that.
Yeah. I think that is very common. But anyway, I thought that was an interesting, it was one of them that stood out this week in the myriad of TED Talks that I listened to, going over, not only
Yeah.
looking and listening to what kind of speech it was, but there is, and I want to challenge you with this. Zach heard it this week. But I want to challenge you guys in something that I heard at church on Sunday. Jeb, pastor of the church that we're going to, was talking about small groups. And I got to be honest, I think I'm pretty well versed in small groups. And so I kind of tuned out what he was saying so that I could try and look at how he was saying it. Again, I turned on that whole thing of, okay, I'm going to watch your speech and I'm going to find out, I'm going to compare. But then one thing that he said was incredible. And I want to challenge you guys to do it. Zach, I don't know if you remember hearing it or not, but
I didn't hear anything. I was with my kids.
oh, that's right. You were with the kids.
I heard nothing, just screams.
Talking about his small groups and what his small groups do. His small group meets on a Sunday evening, and they go around in their small groups and they talk about the sermon that was just preached. But here's the thing, and this is what I want to challenge you with anything that you listen to, anything that you're trying to absorb, even a show that you watch or a conversation that you watch, because it really calls for attention. And that it took me back to, Jake, what you were talking about, the TED Talk of the improv, excuse me.
Yeah.
When he was talking about listening, where you had to listen to it because you had to continue the conversation with the last word. And it got me thinking about the amount, he talked about this, about how long you listen. And it really got me thinking about how much I really pay attention. But here's what he said. They go around the small group and they talk about the sermon, but you have to say, this is what I got from the sermon in 10 words or less.
That's really,
and so mom and I, my wife, you guys' mom, your mother-in-law. We've been
Sometimes
every TED. Oh, look, Jake froze up. He was getting ready to say something fantastic, and he just froze up. Do you think he'll come back?
Eventually.
I don't know if he'll come back or not. Let's see if he does. I don't know if I can even. I can't remember. I can't minimize when we're
recording.
Oh wait,
we're good.
are you back?
Yeah. Are you cutting? I mean, are you just cutting those parts and trying to figure out how to make it work?
Absolutely not, man. What we
Dude,
get,
we have to, because it's just so bad. It makes the quality look so rotten whenever that happens, and I
I'll
can't do
work
anything
on it.
about it.
But normally I put down what we get, man.
Oh, I know. And I know that's extra
what we
stuff on
shoot.
you,
Our brand is non-perfection.
but I don't know what it is. It's just this laptop. It'll just drop internet. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. It's just, yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know what it is.
hey, this is all about transparency. Uh, but anyway, what we've been doing is we listen to these TED Talks, and then we ask ourselves, in 10 words or less, what was that TED Talk about? And it's been really good, yet really difficult in some.
Yeah.
And I've been even with conversations, I've been doing that. Jake freezes contemplative. I've even been doing that with conversations. I think, okay, I just had a conversation with this individual. Now I'm off by myself. In 10 words or less, what did we talk about? And when I find that I'm struggling with trying to come up with 10 words, I think to myself, maybe I didn't even pay attention. Maybe I don't even know.
Because I was just too worried about what I was going to say, right?
Exactly. I
Yeah.
was thinking 5 minutes ahead of, okay, I can't wait till this idiot starts talking so that I can say what I'm going to say. It's been really positive for me. And I would encourage you guys to do this, even do it in sermons, do it in things that you watch, things that you look at. In the end, think to yourself, in 10 words or less, can I explain what I got out of that? And if the answer is one word, nothing, then something went wrong.
Something went wrong.
wrong.
When it comes to that,
Jake he's just awesome, man. He's just comes to that. He's thinking. So
It's every time he's about to say something too.
it's every time you're about to say something.
Am I back? Can you
Yeah,
hear
you're
me?
back, man.
Okay, I don't know. It's the Russians trying to
It might be the Russians.
trying.
Could
They're doing a poor job because the internet on my phone. It would be better if I just Skyped in on my phone.
I don't know. We're fine.
Skype. That's how old I am. Skype.
Yeah.
Who uses Skype?
You're just gonna Skype in on it.
In one word,
Yeah.
name your brand, or attempt to.
One word, name my brand.
Yes.
I don't want to go first.
I'll go first. I'm gonna
All
take
right,
a
what's your
lengthy
brand?
pause. Fireside.
Fireside. Is it the fireside?
Brands are always a little ambiguous, right? Like it's like fresh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say fireside.
Fireside.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
that's a great spot. We could have a whole show just
Based off his pauses.
just off of Jake's faces. It's awesome. We could have a whole show just of what your face looks like when it freezes. Every time you freeze, we just crack up.
Oh
Because
god.
it's usually right when, because you were like this, you were like, yeah, fireside. It was awesome. It was like you were so impressed with your fireside color.
Oh, I was. That was pretty accurate.
That's now see,
Oh, I hate this. This
that
thing.
was crazy because I don't know how fireside caught me off guard because
Yeah, man.
I was going to go with something like inspirational or something.
No. Brands are ambiguous. Like
I know
that.
they are ambiguous.
I was about to say like something like fluid or something dumb because
Oh man.
Fluid.
fluid.
Fluid. I like it, but that's the thing though. Like that's not dumb. Like that comes to mind a lot. It's like a picture. If you could paint a picture with the one word of your brand, a picture's worth 1,000 words that you can't give.
Golly, for some reason, I don't know that I could do it in one word. For some reason, unicorn powder is just,
That's close, but it's no cigarette.
it's not really, golly, I don't know. I don't know. I would probably say sweat.
Sweat. See, that I was gonna say that's good.
It's not
That's good,
very,
though.
it's not very palatable.
No, it is. No, I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
That makes sense to
A
me.
lot of meanings in there.
Sweat. Yeah.
Sweat. I like
would
it.
Sweat. Yeah. And then if you could go on, it'd just be blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
But
I like sweat.
I like sweat. So anyway, that's a little bit something that I was. It's my little bit about the TED Talk and that journey that I'm on about listening to TED Talks. But you mentioned something earlier, and we would be remiss, obviously, if we have a podcast about inspiration and motivation and change and not to speak about the situation that's going on in Ukraine right now. Because every single day you see inspirational things come out. I'm not sure that they fall under the idea of inspiration that motivates us to change, but it's definitely inspirational to want change.
Yeah.
To say there should be something. I think this whole war is an eye opener for many people who didn't know the situation between Russia and Ukraine. I had the opportunity to speak with a friend of mine on Sunday whose heritage is through Ukraine. He's not Ukrainian. His father, I'm not sure if his father was, but his grandfather was definitely. So there's a lineage that comes down through Ukraine. So he has a sense of ownership of what's going on. And Jake, you spoke about the little girl I'm not sure if she was in a bunker.
Yeah, I think she was.
Who was singing Let It Go. And just all the things that you see, everything from, just like I spoke about before, President Zelensky, who is being called the modern day Winston Churchill. And I think if you think back of World War II, Churchill was that, we will fight in the streets, we will fight it, that type of, that whole, I will never give up, never surrender type of thing. And he has obviously been that for the Ukrainian people and obviously to the world. And there's been so many inspirational moments. I to be honest, I think they're more inspirational for me when they come from the Ukrainian people. I think some of the things that we see that come from America ring hollow to me.
Yeah.
And that's a judgmental thing. But to see these, that what they're doing is an inspirational thing. So I think my question is then, in 10 words or less, what have we learned so far, or what have you learned so far about this war? What have we learned so far? And not taking into consideration whether it be fact or fiction, I'm just asking, what have you personally experienced or felt or learned about what's going on in the past? How many days has it been now?
14, 2 weeks.
2 weeks since the invasion started.
I'm really trying to take the 10 words at heart, because there's been quite a few. So I'm really trying. Zach, you go.
Maybe you don't have 10 words. Maybe you just
counting words.
Just have 2. It's 10 words or less. So, obviously for me, Okay, I'm not counting them. So I don't
Okay.
know if there are more than 10.
Okay.
One of the things that has struck me is that there are people in this world who love freedom more than we do here in America.
Hmm. That's a
I
good
guess in
point.
other words, you could say this: we here in America take our freedom for granted.
Right.
I think that's, and that's not a dig on anybody in America,
Yeah.
although it could seem that way. It could reflect that way. It's more of a recognition of the people of Ukraine than it is for a condemnation of the people in America. Although if
Yeah.
the shoe fits, wear it. guess.
I think I agree with you that maybe just one word is
Yeah.
perspective. Big things have to happen a lot of the times to change somebody's perspective, especially if it's ingrained.
Mhm.
And I have a Western viewpoint of the world, an American viewpoint of the world. You know, take all these qualifiers, and
Yeah.
you see tragedy, and you see people that I don't know, because it happens every time, right? I feel like it happens every time something bad happens in the world, and at least this is my own experience. Something bad happens in the world, and I sit and I say, "Gosh, that's so bad," and it didn't happen to me, and I feel weird about that. Not that I want it to happen to me, but it's this never-ending cycle of perspective and tragedy, and
Is it like survivor's guilt?
not survivor's guilt. I think it just really affirms, you know, the blessing of your life. But then when I say that feels hollow to me, if that makes sense, because it feels like, man, I'm just blessed.
Yeah.
And like that
It
doesn't
sounds
feel
kind of
right.
clichéic, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it also it's cliche, but it's also true. But it's also like what we talk about on the show all the time is the spurring on to change.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel like enough now to be like, to stop at that. Wow, you know, I take things for granted. I guess I'm really blessed.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, but what next? You know, and
Because
so
here's the question that we can move to, if we're talking about on our What If podcast, the idea of inspiration and change, the question of being, how will you be changed by the events in the Ukraine? And do you, subtitle,
yeah.
and do you have the courage to say I won't,
Mm.
or the courage to say I haven't?
Well, that honestly, that was my first thought. Is
Yeah,
nothing's gonna change. I'm still gonna be
exactly.
in charge of my kids, still doing this podcast, still.
The only
Yeah.
thing is that you're shelling out a few more bucks for gas. You're shelling out a few more, prices are going up. Some of that's the war, some of it isn't. But it's take away your pocketbook and turn off your TV. Has the events in the Ukraine changed you? And if they haven't, should they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like kind of what Jake was saying, the appreciativeness of what I have, and that I don't have to live in a country where I'm worried about being bombed, or
Right.
it adds
But does that-
perspective.
but does that
I think over
change
time
you?
that fades over.
Yeah,
I mean,
it does.
Like, I think it'll have like a temporary effect of appreciation, but as eventually when this ends and life goes back to normal, I'll slowly forget that lesson and
Yes. And
just go back into the numbness of
and I
my life.
yeah,
That
I
sounds so
guess
sad.
I guess I guess my
It
point.
does, but it's true on a level, isn't it, Zach? It's, you got to reckon with that. Like you
Yes.
know, you can't change it and or attempt to do something different until you say this is true. You know.
I think it really goes back to our discussion of Lent that we had a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That whole idea of, for me to say, it gives me a greater appreciation of the freedoms that I experience in this country, rings hollow to me, because my first reaction is, why did I not have them to begin with? How did I let that appreciation for the freedoms that I have somehow fade into the background, so that a war like this had to be the thing
Reminded you.
that inspired me to remember them? Why did I forget them? There's a guilt for me that says I should have had that perspective all along.
Yeah.
And so, but I think I'm experiencing I'm experiencing a strange feeling. Obviously, you look at it and you grieve for these people of the Ukraine. You grieve for what's going on. You grieve for their families. You are thankful that you are not in that situation.
Yeah. And it's worth noting that like this whole situation, and all three of us feel this way. I know it, like this situation is about them, right? It's not about
No, it's not about
everybody else,
us.
but we can only speak for the experience that we have, right? So
I'm looking, I think I'm kind of digging for that hope that in all places, in all things, how can good come from bad?
yeah.
So it's not like we're at all saying, you know, I think it's very much, I don't complain about gas prices.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't about gas. To me, this isn't about gas prices. For me to sit there and say, well, golly, look at 50 cents more now or whatever. Look what I have to go through when what they're going through. What I'm searching for is, one, should I be experiencing some sort of emotional or psychological or inspirational change out of this? How can I come away from this unchanged and still claim to be globally connected to all mankind?
Yeah.
That's kind of a deep thing, but there's a little bit of guilt inside me that's saying, you know, I just kind of watch and I'm sad about it. And it's a horrible, terrible thing. So how can I come out the other side a better person?
Is it as simple as giving of time and money? You know, is that an aiding? You know,
Sure.
is that a, you know, it's
Sure.
obviously not a bad thing to do at all. You know, I'm saying,
Right.
what I'm thinking of is like, is that the antidote? Is it just, well, you do something about it. You give what you can.
Yeah.
Would that be enough, Dad, to
Yeah.
take the guilt away?
I don't know. And I hate to use that word because it's not really guilt, because I don't sit there.
Sure.
And there is I don't know what the word is.
I think it's a spiritual connection, or a spiritual connection between, you know, our Imago Dei, right? We recognize that all people are made in the image of God. And it's this recognition that other people are suffering, right? And that needs to hurt me in some way too. In some way, like we feel this need to say like, oh, like there's this connection. Now, whether that is long lived or not, I don't know, but it's like we have to feel that, in our spiritual being, we have to we do feel that because they're in the image of God the same way that we are. And it's good that moves us. It should, right?
I think
Regardless of how powerful or powerless we are to change the situation or act on it.
if we break it down into this and kind of look at it in a micro way, what I would relate it to is being a person standing on the playground, watching somebody get bullied and not doing anything about it.
Yeah,
That is a
that
personal
feeling.
thing, because it's unrealistic for me to believe that there's an impact that I can make on a macro level.
Right, on a macro level, right?
Yeah, on a macro level. But then trying to figure out, then going through that journey of figuring, if I can't do it on a macro level, how can I do it on a micro level?
Yeah.
I can't single-handedly stop the Russian forces from coming in. I can't go over and take out the bully. But it very much feels like that. It feels like we're all being exposed to this bully beating up the little guy on the playground.
Yeah, and
And
we
us-
all
and us just
realize,
and us watching.
yeah, and we all realize, okay, this is something that we have to and should be a part of to a certain degree. Now there's politics and things like that in the way, but I think in the micro level, I think you're right, Dad. And I was just thinking like, okay, how do I change part of my brand, right? Or part of who I want to be, if you don't want to go the brand route,
Mhm.
to include someone who stands up to bullies.
Yeah.
That, we were talking about the I am this.
Mhm.
And what if this is moving me to remember, I
Mhm.
think I'm somebody who wants to stand up to bullies, even if I'm not good at it.
Right.
How can I, I'm going to add that to my statement. I am this person. I want, or at least I want to be.
Yeah.
And there we go from there. Right.
Yeah. And use this to spur on the idea, taking that macro idea of a country being invaded by another country and moving it to a place that you're intimately involved with, where you
Right.
can physically make a change, or emotionally make a change, or spiritually make a change, and be a part of someone else's success story. I mean, how do I taking that from the macro, and maybe that's the journey that we take. Maybe that's the realization that we come away with, that says, I can't stand it on a global level. Why should I abide it in my own personal life?
Right.
That's
Right.
anyway. That's what I was thinking about, and those were the reflections that I had
I think that's
as I watched
wonderful.
Ukrainian thing play out, and to grieve for those people. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll see what happens. It's really hard to really know what's going on as we listen to our own mainstream media, whether you're on the right or whether you're on the left, and what you listen to and what you watch. There are stories of the Ukrainians just flourishing and pouncing on the Russians and really holding their own. And then you hear other stories where they're not at all. You're
Probably
like,
a mix of
what's
both.
really happening?
Yeah.
So there's no doubt that they are going through a living hell right now, and our prayers are with them as mothers and fathers and families alike try and protect their own country. So anyway, think about that. If you're listening, if you're a listener here on the What If podcast, think about that. With all the things that you're seeing on the news today, what is your attitude, and how is this tragedy in our world today changing you? So we're going to move on to one of the things that we do or have been doing here, something that we enjoy very much. We have been writing scripts for each other, and
This is gonna suck so much if my internet goes out while we're doing this. This is gonna be so stupid.
we'll keep recording this until it goes, and then we'll just
Until we get it, until we get the shot.
So basically, for those of you who've never listened to the What If podcast and this is your first time, this is what we've been trying to do. We've been taking turns writing scripts for each other. Obviously, we are pretty attuned to the likes and dislikes or what sets off each other. And we've been kind of writing scripts, making each other say things that probably we wouldn't say in a normal setting or probably don't believe in our normal lives. And we've been trying to do it comedically. And I'm not sure whether or not we've succeeded, but I've had fun doing it.
That's what matters in this.
I have had a
if you
blast.
had fun doing it, man.
And so what we have is Jake's Take. I got to put it over here.
Fantastic.
Jake's Take,
Which I have not read.
Eric's Diary. We've done Zach's Smack, and they're all written in different ways. But this time, Zach has written Jake's Take.
And it's a duo piece.
And it is a duo piece. All right, here we go.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Jake's Take. This is my co-host Frank, and today we're looking at a live take on the exclusive Hutch Brunch.
That's right, folks. We're getting a special inside peek at Jake's take on his wife cooking him some scrumdiddlyumptious brunch.
Y'all are in for a treat because my wife knows her place in this marriage, in the kitchen.
Wow, you really just said that?
That's right, Hank. I'm not afraid to speak the truth.
Moving on, it looks like she's ready to scramble the eggs. Just look at this spectacular form. She adds just the right amount of salt and pepper.
Pepper? I hardly know her. Scratch that. I do know her. And I'd like to salt her pepper all night, if you know what I mean.
That's inappropriate? I don't know. Ooh, now she's working on the potatoes. Look at that mashing. I've never seen potatoes so mashed before.
I'll tell you this, Harry. I'd mash her potatoes right now if we weren't live.
Okay, let's focus on the food here. Now she has moved on to the toast. She's putting a lot of care into them as she carefully cuts the crust and gently spreads the butter evenly.
Barry, let me stop you right there. I can't wait until tonight to butter her bread. Oh boy, it's gonna be magical.
Okay, this is getting old really quick. Can you not keep it professional for 1 minute? And do you really not remember my name? We've been working together like for 3 months already.
Listen here, Brandon.
My name is Zach.
Okay, Jack, no one cares about the co-host anyways. Oh, my wife seems upset. I'm getting word that she actually listens to this show and doesn't think it's funny at all. A first look at Jake's take on this situation, it sucks. Looks like I'll be on the couch for a while. Well, as always, it's not the size of the boat that matters, it's the motion of the ocean. Good night and good day.
So that was Jake's Take.
That was good. Like I told you guys, the door was cracked and Amanda, I could just hear her go, "Ew." All time.
Well, the funny thing is, like, they don't make any sense at all. Like, they're innuendos, but they're like terrible ones.
They're bad.
Here's what
I thought that was excellent, Zach.
Yeah, that
very
was,
nicely
it was
done.
really good. Here's what I was thinking. When it first started, I thought when Zach was writing this, he couldn't keep track of what that guy's name was. Then I was like,
You're like, I found an error
that's
in your
the joke.
screenwriting,
I
sir.
totally missed that joke until Barry. I totally missed that. I was like,
It's very nuanced.
Why is he
Zach is a very nuanced humor.
that was a good one. I like that. And see, here's the thing. Zach cracked into that inappropriateness that I've been longing for. I was like, I gotta wait.
Did I freeze? Did you? Nice.
You froze just like this.
You
So-
found the formula, man.
So basically, the door's been open.
Oh, it's cracked
They're
wide open.
like,
On the other
uh-oh.
side is someone saying, "Ew."
All right, so Jake, it is
I
your
got yours
turn now.
next.
It is your turn to write mine.
Yes.
And then you get to write Zach's next time.
Yes. Oh, well, unless we want to go back, we want to reverse order. So I write Zach's, Zach writes yours, and you write mine.
Let's do that.
Let's go around the other way.
Okay, so now the next one is you write Zach's.
I write Zach's. Yeah.
Yep. Yours is Zach's next time. Let's do that. Let's go on the other. I don't know. And you know what? I don't care if anyone likes these.
It's just
care.
purely for
I
fun.
don't care if all 13 people, well, it can't be 13. I'm one of them. I don't care if all
One of all 12 people.
look at it and say it's the dumbest thing. They're wasting their time on our podcast. In years
It's for us, man.
when I'm dead and in my grave, somebody's going to bring this up. Maybe somebody in the family, and it's going to remember. You know what this is? This is legacy, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
This is legacy.
Legacy.
When they were big hot shots.
Yeah, they're going to look
Yeah.
back and say,
Wow, they sucked back then.
wow,
How'd they come that far?
they've come a long way. That's it. Because our belief is, if you really want to succeed, that's a great one. That's a great one. So anybody who
Oh goodness.
join our Patreon, it's going to be down below, down over here. You can go in there, and I guarantee you, if you join as a Patreon member, you can join at different levels, support us financially so that we can do these podcasts, so we can go out and do our what if presentations, so we can do all kinds of things. You're not only going to get early release to my book chapters, you're also going to get a video that includes every one of Jake's frozen faces.
Ooh, I love that.
And if you're a big Jake fan,
I doubt it.
and how can you miss that?
Most people watching are probably big Zach fans, to be honest.
Probably big Zach fans. So
Yeah.
check
They come
out
to
our
shine.
Patreon page. The link's going to be down below in the description. Again, you can check out our Facebook. You can check out our website. Just go to believeinthewhatif.webnode.com. Check us out on Facebook. Just Believe in the What If. And if you've got something to say to us or an idea about one of the scripts that we should write about, email us at believeinthewhatif@gmail.com. So for everybody here at the What If podcast, for myself, for Jake, let me see if I can get it right. For Jake, for Zach, for everybody here, we want to thank you for listening. Continue to be inspired every day and ask yourself the question, what if? We'll see you next week.